Welcome to Cord Cutting today for April 5th, 2019. This is the show where I give you a quick look at some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting right now. If you want to learn more about these stories, in the show notes down below I'll put a link to each story so you can read about them for yourself. Come up with your own opinions. I'd love to hear from you. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It's really a huge help to us because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we're doing here. And hopefully we can help you break free from the high cost cable TV, but still watch the shows you want to watch. Before we get into the news today, a quick look at one of the biggest deals happening right now. TCL, which is pretty much the leader in Roku TVs right now, has their 75-inch Roku TV, the 2019 model, on sale, and they cut the price by over $359.50. So one of the biggest complaints for a while about Roku TVs is I wanted something bigger than a 65-inch Roku TV. When I talked to people who didn't want a Roku TV, that was one of the main reasons they said. Well, now they have a 75-inch one available, 4K, HDR, all that. It's the 6 series, which is their high-end in picture and quality, and it's now down to $1,599.99, down from about $2,000 before this. So that's a huge price cut right now. I would highly recommend you take advantage of it from what it was originally announced as its price. If you were one of those people who said, hey, I really want a big TV and I want a Roku, and I'm unhappy that they don't offer those. Well, now they do. I'll put a link to it down below so you can check out that deal. All right, let's dive into the news. A lot of people ask me, Luke, why do you push an antenna? And you're always talking about why cord cutters should have an antenna. I have YouTube or Sling or PlayStation View and I'm happy. Things like this are one of the reasons. MeTV, which is an over-the-air network for free, has announced that they're going to be airing cable net shows. Some of the originals have not been aired on television in 41 years are now going to be airing on MeTV. There is a lot of content with an antenna you just can't get with services like YouTube TV, PlayStation View, and more. MeTV is one of the stations that, to my knowledge, is not available on any of the live TV streaming services, but is pretty popular around the country for free with an antenna. Beyond that, hey, it's a free option. Once you buy the antenna, you own it, and you can always use it. It's a great backup if your streaming service is ever out. The picture quality is great, and more. And there's a lot of networks like MeTV out there that I would recommend you check out. So if you have a favorite over-the-air channel, I'd love to hear from you. Is it Comet? Is it MeTV? Is it antenna? Let me know. I'd love to hear what your favorite over-the-air network is other than the ABC, CBS's, etc. What are some of the lesser known ones that you really love? I'm a big fan of Comet. I'm a big fan of MeTV, antenna. I love the sci-fi and classic shows and more. Next story up, if you live in Illinois, this is probably one you should pay attention to. So Chicago was one of the first cities in the country that had a specific streaming tax. Now this is so-called Netflix tax, but it applies to music services and I believe gaming services also, like the Xbox subscription and more. And it also applies to Netflix, Hulu, and more. This is a specific tax that targets it, that is applied on top of sales tax to streaming services. Now the state of Illinois has announced plans to release a bill that's been proposed to roll this tax out statewide. And the good news is it is a 5% tax, and it'll go on satellite and streaming services also. But in percentage, it's still a smaller tax than cable. The downside to it is it's an additional tax that the state wants to put on streaming services just because they want more money, basically. So if you live in the state of Illinois, I put a link to it down below. It has a website there with information on it if you want to contact your representatives and let them know that this, you don't want another tax in your state. There are a few other states. I think Pennsylvania is one that does this. Most states just charge sales tax, which is that tax you get on pretty much everything out there. But a few states, including Illinois now, have proposed this, and I think Pennsylvania has actually passed it. So link down below. But let me know, other than sales tax, does your state have any, or your city have any specific streaming tax that targets services like Netflix? All right, next up is DirecTV Now's Plus and Max packages are supposed to get Viacom Channels today. So last week we reported on the fact that the AT&T and Viacom had struck a deal, and then on Friday they announced that DirecTV Now's Plus and Max packages, which are their new packages for $50 and $70, will be getting some Viacom channels. And they announced that today was the day that was supposed to happen. It's not live yet, but it should be. So if you passed on the DirecTV Now Plus or Max because it didn't have Viacom Channels, check their website later today. It should be live. Typically, AT&T does these additions late in the day. I know a lot of companies do them in the middle of the night. AT&T seems to do them in the late afternoon, early evening. Why? I'm not really sure. I think it probably has to do with the fact that their teams are in California, so it's running on Pacific time. But just keep that in mind. But yes, many of them are coming back. They are split between the Plus and the Max package. And I have a link down below that breaks down what each package is going to be adding today. Fubo TV is a popular live TV streaming service, first best known for their international Spanish packages, international sports. Really expanded into a streaming service targeting more of the English market with American sports and worldwide sports in English. Well, one of the main complaints about the service has been their DVR. Well, it's a very nice DVR. One of the things missing about it was the ability to record a series. You could record individual shows. You couldn't say record all my evening news, for example. Well, now you can do just that. They've updated their DVR to add the ability to record full series of a show, which really takes care of one of the main complaints about Fubo TV. Hopefully they add ESPN. If they do, they really are an excellent news service or streaming service for sports fans. They will supposedly have Viacom Channels added this month also. If you're a Fubo TV subscriber, leave us a comment. I'd love to know what do you think of the service? Why do you subscribe to Fubo TV? What do you like about it? Let everybody know. I'd love to hear from you. Next up, in what was kind of a salacious story, maybe a little bit, I don't know if that's the right word to use for this, but Jeff Bezos, which is the founder and majority owner of Amazon right now, has concluded his divorce. Why is that important to cord cutting and everything? Why am I covering that? Well, because there was a real serious question about if he would be able to maintain his control of his companies in the divorce. Would his wife get majority control of a certain part of the company or different parts of it? That was a big question. Well, they've come to an agreement. His wife will be getting 4% of his or of Amazon stock, which works out to be, I believe, about a fourth of the stock he owned. And but she's given him voting control over that stock, and it makes her the fourth richest woman in the world. Estimate, I think I heard $35 billion is that 4% of Amazon's worth. He also retained control of his space program and the Washington Post, his newspaper that he recently purchased. So the cloud that's been hanging over Amazon, will there be a shakeup in leadership? Would there be some type of force for her to get board seats? Would there be an internal strife here? Was a question that's been floating around for a while. That's been addressed, and it seems like people are very happy with this change because Amazon's investors seem to have not minded the deal they came up with. We cover a lot of different companies, management changes. We talked yesterday about Sling TV's old CEO taking over a bunch of magazines and so forth. We talked about Sony's chairman leaving. So we felt that this one fell under the world of executives, and what's happening in the leadership over at Amazon we thought was newsworthy, so we did cover it over there. So let me know, are you happy that Amazon's leadership is not changing? I'd love to hear from you. All right, our last story of the day is one I wanted to talk a lot about because it's one of those things that's popping up. A couple analysts have come out and say, hey, cord cutting is probably going to slow down this year. If you listen to these videos, you know I for a while have said that a lot of analyst predictions I thought were overly aggressive. There's a few reasons for that. The economy is so strong. When the economy is strong like this, I don't know, it's maybe not strong where you are, perfect, but the unemployment rate's very low. That when that happens, people aren't necessarily running out and looking for ways to save money. They may not care if their TV bill is $300 or $400 if they feel like they're making more and they have a good job and they feel secure in their job right now. But at the same time, cord cutting is still growing at a rate where it's never been faster. Almost, I should say, 4 million subscribers cut the cord in 2018. 3.9 million, I believe, was the total number in 2018. Some cord cutter or analysts are saying 2019 will probably be closer to 3 million. It's one of those things that, you see the stories, sky is falling, cord cutting's coming to an end, you might as well bail on it. Only 3 million people are going to cancel cable TV this year. And, it's probably one of the weirdest stories I have found in a long time. This idea that, hey, cable is doing great. They're only losing 3 million subscribers in 2019 as a way to defend the company. It seems silly to me because cord cutting is still growing faster than I think these analysts really realize, because that's just looking at the number of Americans who are canceling cable TV, not the number of Americans who graduate college, move out, don't get cable, and they get a streaming service, etc. Or, I've often talked about this situation. 4 college roommates all living together after college, they all have jobs. Well, over time, all 4 of them move out, get their own place. Those 4 people had 1 cable subscription because they all chipped in. And, hey, if you got 4 people chipping in on a $200 bill, it's not a lot of money, really, to be honest with you. But when you're doing that $200 bill by yourself, that's a lot. So now you went from 1 canceled cable subscriber to 4 new cord cutting households because they all moved out, they all got their own place and more. So my question to you is, have you done any of that? Were you one of the people who moved out of college, moved out of an apartment or more, and suddenly found yourself going from 4 people paying for 1 subscription to cable to 4 people paying for different cord cutting services instead? So it's really hard to say, how fast cord cutting is really growing. It's one of those great debates. How big is cord cutting? Well, we can tell you how many people cancel cable, but we don't know how many people moved out of their parents' home, graduated college, got divorced, and 1 cable subscription became 2 cord cutters. 4 roommates became 4 different cord cutters. So it's really hard to say. So take these things with a grain of salt, because this is just some random person with their educated opinion, and they may be right. There is a great fact that the economy is strong. Jobs are competitive right now. A lot of help wanted signs out there at this moment. But at the same time, cord cutting is seemingly growing faster and faster. Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, many of these streaming services, YouTube TV and more, are reporting record growth in subscribers with no end in sight on that. So I'm very interested to know, are you one of the people who are kind of the silent cord cutting group? Did you cut the cord because you never had the cord, you never had cable, or maybe you had it as a part of a group deal, and then when you moved out, you just didn't get it? So, how is that all tracked? Maybe you moved away, your roommate stayed, kept cable, but you're a cord cutter now, even though the cable company didn't necessarily lose a subscriber over here. So let me know. I'd love to hear from you what your story is. Did you cancel cable and become a cord cutter? Did you join the silent majority of cord cutters who kind of just moved out there and cut it without really being seen on the cable balance sheets in the past, if that makes any sense? So let us know. I'd love to hear from you. All right, everybody, I hope you have a great day. Tomorrow I will have our typical weekly recap. Monday I'll be at the National Association of Broadcasters. I do plan to do a daily update each day while I'm at the National Association of Broadcasters show. I'm not sure what it's going to look like. So I'm bringing my camera equipment. I'll be shooting a lot of film on the show floor like we did at CES. We'll see what other things I can record and post online. And I'll have a lot of reporting happening. But join us all week next week for our NAB coverage, and I'm still going to do my best to do these daily cord cutting updates and our Q&A next Wednesday. So I'll see you next week with more daily cord cutting news, tips, tricks, how-to guides, and more. Take care, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend if I don't see you tomorrow.